What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today we are going over the leaks for Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 6. I'm still riding high on the buzz from episode 5, so if I do look overly happily in this video, then you know why. Before we jump in, remember to subscribe to the channel so we can continue this Kenobi journey together and all the other Star Wars projects that are going forward as well. And also leave a like on the video, massively helps the channel out, it's really appreciated. So I will just say, by the way, that I have actually just recorded this video once already, only to realise that I didn't even have my microphone plugged in. So, yeah. Just going back to episode 5 leaks, just briefly. Now, there was some aspects on there that were actually bang on, and some of them that were missing, and some of them that obviously didn't really fit. However, the outline of it was still there. Not as consistent as on point for the first 4 episodes, but it was still making sense, and there was bits in there that you go, yep, actually that's right. For example, the flashback. We knew exactly from the leaks when that flashback was going to be around about Attack of the Clones. We knew it was going to be Anakin and Obi-Wan training. We knew the type of flashback it was going to be, where Anakin's a bit cocky and Obi-Wan's trying to basically, train him at this in this session. We learned that the majority of the episode is going to be on Jabim as well. That was from the leaks, so that was bang on. And we also know that Haja returned, which is a bit irrelevant really, but I mean, I'm glad to see my man Haja. He had the funniest moment in that episode, if you ask me, when he basically says being on Jabim with the Force sensitives and whatnot was a good business opportunity for him. That made me crack up. And then we also knew from the leaks that Reva's going to find out, or she's going to know about Luke and Leia, and that in this episode Obi-Wan is going to know that she knows, which puts Luke in danger, which we saw at the end of episode 5, which was pretty cool. So yeah, some aspects in there which were on, so I'm happy with that, and we move on to episode 6. So just to let you know, the leaks can appear different to how they are presented here. They can appear in different orders, or like for example, the flashback scene. I thought, looking at these leaks, it was only going to be concentrated to one part of the episode, but it was spread out across the whole episode, which was actually really good. We start off with Kenobi being dropped off on a moon refinery in the Mustafar system. Now, just to be clear, this doesn't say Mustafar, the volcanic planet where Vader's castle is. Just says a moon refinery, a bit like Nur, that was a water moon in the Mustafar system. This is a different one, I believe. However, if we think back to the concept art for Obi-Wan Kenobi, the first images we actually got at the show, it did show Vader and Obi-Wan clashing, and there was a load of fire around them. So maybe could we be going back to actual Mustafar? Let me know what you guys think on that one in the comments. Now, I do believe it's pretty obvious that we will be getting another fight between Obi-Wan and Vader, as this was billed as the rematch of the century, and I don't think episode 3's fight, although cool to see, was rematch of the century, especially from Obi-Wan's point of view. So Kenobi's dropped off here, and he's basically luring the Empire and Vader away from Roken and Leia. And it would not surprise me, this isn't in the leaks, this is just my take on it, if he has kind of like another flashback or something along them lines, which it leads him to believe that if he goes this direction, Vader will follow and he'll take all of his armor with him and all of the forces. I mean, it could be cool, wouldn't it, if that was actually like a Clone Wars flashback with Anakin in the Clone Wars armor? That would be pretty dope. So the previous leaks for episode 4, which didn't really relate, I think will fit into episode 5 better, would be Kenobi and Leia having a goodbye scene, obviously just before Obi-Wan leaves to fight Vader and lure him away. And then Roken agrees and takes her back to her family on Alderaan. So we skip straight to the fight now, and Vader goes for Kenobi. Words are exchanged in the fight, which is part of the best moments in episode 3's fight, when they're talking to each other. I really enjoyed that. And at one point, Obi-Wan actually tells Vader, or Anakin, he might call him Anakin in this, who knows, just to really rub him up, or maybe remember who he was, that it doesn't have to be this way. So I think he's going to try and redeem Darth Vader now. Going back to Return of the Jedi, Vader tells Luke, Obi-Wan once fought as you do. I think this is going to be that moment where Obi-Wan tries to redeem Vader and it doesn't work. He also mentions that Padme still saw the light within him, which apparently intensifies the emotions in the fight. I don't know how Vader would take that. I mean, Would that push him further to the darkness, opening up wounds that haven't really healed yet? Would he be like really desperate to know of any knowledge or any information about Padme's final moments before she passed away? Would he think Obi-Wan's lying, and it would just enrage him even more that the man he thinks is responsible for it all is standing right in front of him in the form of Obi-Wan Kenobi? And it goes on to say, like, as everything seems lost, I assume that, you know, Vader's just going to be bossing Obi-Wan around here because Vader's insanely powerful, let's not forget. Obi-Wan is firmly intact with the Force. He's very, very connected at this point in time, and he hears a disembodied voice of Qui-Gon Jinn who begins to guide him and coaches him in his most desperate time. Now just think, if that actually happens, then this Kenobi series has given us everything we've wanted. We've had a flashback. You know, we've had an Order 66 flashback. We've got a Qui-Gon Jinn Force Ghost, or voice, be better if it's a ghost, but we'll see. I mean, imagine if the only thing I think would be missing would be seeing Anakin and Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars armor. Because in their previous one, obviously they were in the robes, it was just before Attack of the Clones. As you can see from him having 2 hands, or 2 arms even. So it goes on, the leaks go on to say that they are under the impression that Obi-Wan has to buy enough time. He's maybe not looking to go and defeat Vader as such. Maybe he's just going to buy enough time for Roke and Leia and probably the others to escape and get away from, or get towards Alderaan. But he can't leave enough time for Reva to get to Tatooine to find Luke. So time is very important for Obi-Wan, and his timing's got to be spot on to pull this off. So it goes on to say that how the fight is won is still unknown, but look, Obi-Wan goes on to win thanks to the guidance of Qui-Gon. I mean, do we think that we'll have another iconic moment like we had in Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan had the high ground and it's going to be a meme that goes around for years? I mean, that'd be pretty dope if it did. I'm up for one of them any day of the week. So it goes on to say that Kenobi escapes and returns to Tatooine, to the last homestead, where he finds Reva with her crimson lightsaber ignited and a horrified Luke Skywalker looking on. Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are subdued. Reva has a flashback where she remembers being taken to the Jedi temple as a youngling, or just before she became a youngling, and then also to the Fortress on Nerd when she becomes an Inquisitor. So what's interesting to me is, does she hold the Jedi and the Inquisitors in the same regard? Does she have just as much disdain for each of them? That'd be interesting to know, because if we're going to get a Reva spin-off show, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what her angle is and what's going on. I think the reason for her wanting to go to Tatooine to find Luke was because Vader, or Anakin, as she would refer to him as at this point in time, killed the younglings, which were her family. So she's probably looking for revenge, and now she's worked out that Luke and Leia are twins and they're the children of Anakin. She's probably looking for an eye for an eye situation here, even though Vader doesn't technically know that he has any kids. I mean, that's probably the best she can do in her point of view. But anyway, so she can't go through with it. She can't do it because of, obviously, you know, not wanting to put the pain that she went through on another, especially a youngster like Luke or Leia. Kenobi lets her leave, thinking that she could have done the worst, but she didn't. And it says here that Reva leaves the farm and goes home, returns home. Does Reva have a home still? I mean, she was taken from a really young age into the Jedi, and then she went become an Inquisitor. I don't think Reva has a home. I don't know. We'll find out next week, I guess. So this is not where it actually ends on these leaks. So on Alderaan, Leia runs into her parents' arms, whilst on Tatooine, Owen gives Luke the T-16 Skyhopper, that toy that Obi-Wan originally gave him, and this is basically to get Luke over the trauma that he's just gone through, but also signifies that they think that Obi-Wan isn't that bad. It's a nice ending to the series, whilst also showing that they love Luke very much. So at this point, Kenobi is back where he started, although spiritually he has changed. He's much closer now to the Obi-Wan Kenobi from A New Hope than he was from the Obi-Wan at the first episode of this season, a much more collected and rounded Jedi. Qui-Gon appears to him as a full-formed Force Ghost, and Obi-Wan is amazed to see him appear in front of him physically. This is the first time that Obi-Wan has seen a Force Ghost, bearing in mind. I mean, does he even know that they can become Force Ghosts? Does he just assume it's a voice and that's it? I don't know how much Yoda would have told him. Qui-Gon asks Obi-Wan what took him so long and tells him that it's been with him the entire time. Obi-Wan buries a lightsaber. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to be his lightsaber. I don't think it will be, because in A New Hope he doesn't have him buried, and he also has Anakin's, so maybe he might actually dig that up. Maybe that's what it means. Maybe he's actually going to dig one up rather than bury it. But if he does bury it, it could be maybe Nari's. But it's said that he does have kind of a funeral or a ceremony for Nari, or it may not be Nari. It may be for the Jedi that have fallen through Order 66, or the ones he encountered on Nuh in the Inquisitor's Fortress, or maybe it's a collection of them all, and he's basically having a ceremony or a funeral to remember them. The last shot is Obi-Wan riding into the twin suns on Tatooine, riding his Aope. Now that is a really beautiful moment to leave this season on, and it's going to be one of them iconic moments, I think. It fills me with good thoughts just thinking about it. Now, I will say that these leaks did actually include an ending for Reva, which I've cut out because obviously it's not going to happen, that was actually rectified by Making Star Wars, as this is where the leaks are from. So what it basically says, just to fill you in if you're interested, apparently after this scene, after Reva leaves Tatooine, she reports back to Vader, obviously unaware of what's going to happen in episode 5, I assume, where they've sort of cut ties. But apparently she goes back to Vader and tells him that she killed Kenobi. Could that still happen? Actually, that could technically maybe... No, that wouldn't happen. And at this point, Vader kills her. But then it was also rectified that she doesn't die. And obviously we know now that she's probably not even going to go to Fortress Inquisitorius or to where Vader is at any point, because he literally just stabbed her and left her for dead and said they no longer needed her. So I think that part of it is done. So let me know what you guys think on these ones, and remember to subscribe if you're new to the channel, leave a like, it's much appreciated. I'll catch you in the next video. May the Force be with you.